Bulino. Bulino. Bulino.
Welcome to Bulino Bedtime Stories. Every Friday evening, we read a fun and exciting original story. Sign up to receive weekly book recommendations, activities, and to download this audio file at bulino.co.uk. Wake up, little sheepdog. Sandy was a sheepdog with a very special job. She lived on a big farm with her owner, Farmer Jack, who looked after many types of animals. The most important animals to Sandy, however, were the sheep. Every afternoon, Farmer Jack would round up his sheep and bring them to the farmyard. A few hours later, the sheep were moved back into their wonderful green meadow. This was where Sandy's special job began. Sandy had to make sure that all 40 sheep had returned safely to the field. Every afternoon, she would count them as they trotted back through the gate, making sure none had gotten lost on the way. It was a very important job, and Sandy liked doing it, but it caused her a huge problem. As you may know, counting sheep makes you very, very sleepy. Each day, as Sandy started to count the sheep, her eyelids would quickly begin to close, and her head would get very heavy. Before she could count to 20, she was fast asleep. The sheep used to smile as they passed the sleeping Sandy. This happened every single afternoon, and it was unacceptable, Sandy told herself. Farmer Jack was relying on her to do a very important job, but every time she tried, she fell asleep. This was ridiculous. Sheepdogs don't fall asleep whilst working. She had to fix it. Sitting beneath her favorite tree, Sandy tried to think of ways to count the 40 sheep and keep awake. 30 minutes later, she still had no idea what to do, so she decided to ask the other farm animals. The goats in the next field suggested that Sandy could try counting the sheep with her eyes closed, so she did not have to watch them. Sandy thanked the goats, but thought it was a very silly idea. How can you count sheep when you can't see them? The hens in the hen house said Sandy could try counting in a different language to keep her mind busy. That might have worked, but Sandy didn't know any other languages. Finally, the cows with bells around their necks suggested that, to stay awake, Sandy hopped up and down on one leg as she counted. The pigs next door thought this was a really funny idea and snorted with laughter. If anything, hopping up and down would probably make the sheep laugh and make Sandy more tired. This was proving to be a difficult problem, but Sandy would not give up. She knew she would find an answer if she just kept trying. All of a sudden, an idea popped into her head. If all the sheep wore bells around their necks, like the cows, Sandy would not need to watch them all. She could just listen. But sheep were sometimes silly, and they might run through the gate, turn around, and go back out again. And then they would get counted twice. That wouldn't work either. So instead of using bells, Sandy decided to simply talk to the sheep. She explained her problem and politely asked if they would help. The sheep happily agreed. So from that day on, every afternoon, when the 40 sheep hurried back in their field, they each shouted out their name. All Sandy had to do was listen and count the names of the sheep trotted by. She no longer had to worry about falling asleep because she was not watching the sheep, only listening. The little sheepdog had solved her problem because she never gave up. But not only had Sandy solved her problem, she was on first name terms with 40 new friends. We hope you enjoyed the story. Follow us on Twitter and Pinterest at BulinoEN and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/BulinoUK. Thank you for listening and Happy reading!
Mulino. Mulino.
Mulino.